All right. Well, I appreciate you all being here today, and I look forward to what God has for you. I'm going to start out with asking you a question. Can I share a piece of news with you?
Yeah.
All right. So, this morning, I had the privilege of hearing a tremendous sermon, and it happened to be her very first one. Pastor Kay shared a sermon, a message with Bay City First Church of the Nazarene this morning, and she did a tremendous job. I'm really proud of her for all that she put into that and how she allowed the Spirit of God to speak through her. And so I share that with you because the conversation we're going to have today, the message we're going to hear, first and foremost, it challenged me to my core, and it's preaching right to me. But I don't want you to think just because it's preaching to me it has nothing to do with you, because every single person in this room has to deal with it too. All right? And so I want you to hear me in the fact that we all need to get this message and learn to grow better in it. All right? My prayer this morning, matter of fact, why don't I do that? Father, I just ask that through your Spirit, you open every single heart to hear the message, to realize that none of us are got it together, none of us have it right, none of us are doing it perfectly, and your entire goal in this process is to teach us something more. Whether it's things that we thought we already knew, things that we might have had but maybe missed just a little piece of, maybe we've gotten it entirely wrong for years, and it's time for you to correct us. I don't know what that is for each of us, but I do know this. There is a word for each and every one of us here, and all of us need to grow in this area. And I ask that today, through your Spirit, you soften our hearts to hear this message. I pray this in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen. So I shared news with you, right? So what is news? Information, right. It's things that is known to everybody, or it is things that is shared when the person that you're talking about is present in the conversation, right? So first of all, Kay shared a message. She's sitting here right here with us, so it's news, and I can talk about it because Kay's right here, right? Also, there was no expectation of nobody needed to know because it went live on the internet. So everybody that wanted to watch got to watch, right? So if you want to hear the message that Kay shared, you can go to Bay City First Church of the Nazarene YouTube page, and you can find it and listen to it, and I promise you it will speak to you. It's really good. But I also would challenge you to be prepared because it's going to come to a church near you soon. Right? Because I've asked her to do a little bit of work to it and bring it to us in a few weeks. And I don't know when exactly that's coming. I know there's a date coming soon where I'll need you. Okay? So I am confident that you and God will work that out. And it'll be timed perfectly for that. So thank you, Kay. But that brings up what we're going to talk about today. We have conversations all the time that when we're talking about it, it's news. It's general information. And then we have conversations that aren't so much. Reading from Psalm chapter 15 to start our message today. I'm going to read the entirety of Psalm 15, and don't worry, it's only 5 verses. It's not like Psalm 119 where it's going to take all day. Okay. Psalm chapter 15. It's a psalm of David. Lord, who may dwell in your sacred tent? Who may live on your holy mountain? The one whose talk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from their heart, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to their neighbor, and casts no slur on others, and despises a vile person, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps an oath even when it hurts, and does not change their mind, who lends money to the poor without interest, who does not accept a bribe against the innocent, who does these things. Whoever does these things will never be shaken. King David tells us what it looks like to be able to dwell with the king. Now, you and I, we've had this conversation a lot here at this church, where I remind you on a regular basis, the good news is not just that you get eternity in heaven. It's that you get to dwell with the Spirit of God in you. You get a kingdom life right now. Now, it's just a image of what it will be. But you get some special stuff when you dwell with God. And King David tells us some expectations of what our life needs to look like to be able to dwell there. You know, I'm looking around the room, and almost everybody in here has been to a recovery meeting or two. Right? Right? Okay. I didn't want to feel alone. So a little joke, side thing. I think it was just Jeff Dunham talking to one of his puppets. And they're talking about him being the puppet being an alcoholic. And Jeff says, "Have you ever been to AA?" And the puppet said, "AA's for quitters." Well, let me first encourage you all. I need you to all be quitters when it comes to the stupid stuff we do in our lives. And we're going to talk about one of those stupid things today. And it has nothing to do with drinking. Right? In recovery meetings, we're always reminded of this one thing. It's often phrased exactly this way. What you hear here, who you see here, it has to stay here. Right? And there's a reason that is driven home week after week after week. The reality is, every single one of us have been betrayed at some point by someone. We've shared something. Maybe it's just a little thing. Maybe it's a secret. But when we shared it, those people went out and told other people. And I'll be honest, no matter the reason why, when that's happened to me, it hurt. No matter the reason why, when it's happened to you, it hurt. Even if they thought they were doing something good, the pain was real inside of us, wasn't it? Every one of us has felt that pain, felt that difficulty, right? No matter how minor it may seem, it has a drastic impact in our lives. Honestly, most people in recovery will say that they have trust issues. Do you think I'm wrong? Just look at your own life. Is that true? I know it is for me. But it's even worse in the church. In recovery meetings, we have trust issues. But if they have church experience, there's a really good chance that they've been hurt inside church. We get this thing going and we mask this problem with saying, I was just sharing a prayer request. But sharing that prayer request that wasn't my prayer request gets people hurt. Church hurt is probably one of the greatest areas of pain that I get to deal with as a pastor. When people are talking to other people about other people's stuff. Betrayal by someone that we thought should be better than that. Let me first say, everyone in this room is broken, and we're going to mess up, and that means me as well. Understand, I'm preaching this message to myself. I know that everything I'm going to say applies to me, okay? But that doesn't take away from how it applies in your life as well. I've been hurt by many, many people in the same way. Some of them in this room today. Thankfully, I'm learning how to trust the way Jesus did. Now, I say that, but I'll be honest with you, I spend a lot more time asking God for forgiveness for my lack of trust than I do well with trust. All right? Just this last week, I betrayed a trust. I shared something with a friend as a prayer request about my daughter. I was really concerned. I shared information that was shared with me. I knew it was true. But before I knew it, it had turned into a full-blown betrayal by me against my daughter. My intentions, while I thought they were good, failed. You see, the nature of betrayal comes from leaving her out of the conversation. I had asked others to pray specifically for a thing, and I didn't ask her if it was okay to share that with this other person. I didn't specifically ask her if it was okay to share. I know this. From the bottom of my heart, I know this to be true. I can ask people to pray for my daughter without any detail at all. And I know, without a doubt, if you pray for my daughter, it will have the same amount of impact as if I told you why to pray for her. But for whatever reason, I felt like it was important for me to share that information. And it wasn't like it's a bad thing. I could go down the list of how everything fell apart from there. But the reality is it doesn't matter. She felt betrayed because it came back around the circle, got to somebody that they didn't want to know, and got brought to them. And of course, the only person they had shared it with was me. I betrayed her. Where do you think that betrayal came from? Was it because I was malicious about it? Was it because the other person was being malicious? They went out and said something to someone else just to stir the pot. In this instance, no. But it had the exact same impact in my daughter's world as if I had done it or the other person had done it maliciously. You see, in our world, we live in that kind of pain all the time. It's all around us, and unfortunately, we participate in it on a regular basis. It has the same impact no matter whether it's malicious or not. And it has a real consequence. Sometimes it's just hurt. But the truth of the matter is, it can be death. Literal death. Depending on where the person is in their life. Thankfully, my daughter will overcome over time. And I'm confident that she'll forgive me. But this could have been really, really bad. Because this isn't the first time I've betrayed her trust. It could have been the last time, though. There's a word in our society that we don't like. We even will have arguments about it. It's a word that makes people really, really uncomfortable. That word is gossip. So I want to define the word. By the way, this definition is pretty much universally agreed upon throughout the world. The modern definition says it this way out of the dictionary. Casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. The Webster's 1828 dictionary says it in a much easier way to understand. Gossip is to run about and tattling and telling news. An idle tattler. In every one of the definitions I looked at, it comes down to the fact that gossip cannot be gossip or tattling if the person being discussed is present. Every bit of gossip happens when the individual that's being discussed is not present or has not been consulted about the conversation first. When I said the word gossip, every one of us probably cringed. I argued with God about this message because I didn't want to talk about it. We all know that gossip is bad. And we also know that every one of us participated. Some more than others. But truth is, gossip will always cause harm. Always causes harm. It's either going to cause harm to the person you're talking about, or it's going to cause harm to you, or more likely both. You see, when we participate in gossip, we lose our credibility. Our integrity is broken. How many of you know that people relapse every single week because they can't find a safe place to get sober? Even if you don't gossip about them, if they hear you gossiping, they'll know that you're not trustworthy. I'm saying you, I mean me. I'm just as guilty. All of our integrity is on the line here, as much as other people's reputations. But it's more than that. It has a spiritual implication. King David said in Psalm 15 that for us to live the kingdom life fully, we must seek truth, speak truth from our heart. Never speak gossip or slander. Have our concerns about our neighbor instead of ourselves, and we should never see them as worse off than ourselves. Psalm 15, 2-4. The one whose walk is blameless. And he's saying this is who gets to live that kingdom life. The one whose walk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks truth from their heart, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to their neighbor. and casts no slur on others, who despises a vile person, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps an oath even when it hurts, and does not change their mind. The people that live that way, they will have the right to dwell with the Most High, King David says. As you and I, we learn to walk this road of recovery, this road of sanctification, we will find and we learn that our integrity is a huge part of who we are. It's a huge part of this new life. The problem is when other people can't see us as trustworthy with little things, the big things get left out too. When we can't be trusted with something really simple, we get left on the outside of the circle. We get known, but we don't get included. I'd be glad to declare every one of you as part of my circle. But there are some that I know, if I share something, it's probably going to get shared elsewhere. And because of that, when those people are around, I'm less likely to share intimate details. The real intimate things, I have an inner circle that I have the ability to share with. They have proven to me that I can trust them. Now, my standard might look a little different than yours, but that's okay. And I'll just say this. I know it may sound strange that this is true about me, because I share a lot of my life with you. I try to be transparent with what's going on in my life and share my struggles with you, right? But I'll be honest with you, it isn't because I have confidence in your ability to keep me safe. I share because I have confidence in the fact that the information that you have can't really hurt me. Somebody just took that as a challenge, I know. That's okay. Because I know this one thing, my safety is in Christ alone. But it's taken me a long time to get to the point I'm at. And I'm still not there. I know I have a lot further to grow in this knowledge. All of us do. But I'll say this as well. Gossip is one thing. Rumors are completely another. And did you know, are you aware that there has never been a rumor started that didn't start with gossip? Let that sink in for a second. Now, rumors start from news as well. See, news starts the conversation, then gossip goes because it doesn't include the individual. Facebook is probably the worst for spreading gossip. And then, of course, we have whole TV networks designed just to spread gossip. Talk about the stars and what's going on in their lives, and they're not included in that conversation. And we call that news. Gossip and rumors will kill. And they're a truer shot than any sniper rifle ever could be. They will kill others. They will kill your sanity and they will kill your church and your recovery group. I've watched it. You know, Solomon, King David's son, who was the wisest man who has ever lived, had a lot to say about this subject. Matter of fact, he wrote a ton in the book of Proverbs about this subject. Throughout the entirety of that book, I think somebody mentioned this morning that he wrote over 3,000 Proverbs, had over 3,000 wisdom sayings. And we got, 300 and some out of the book of Proverbs? And those 300 and some are enough to keep you busy the rest of your life? Imagine what it would do to you if you tried to look at all 3,000, right? And I'm willing to bet in those ones that we don't have recorded in the book of Proverbs, he mentions this a lot more. You see, Proverbs chapter 11, verses 9 through 13, is just one place where continuously he talks about this subject matter. With their mouths, the godless destroy their neighbors, but through knowledge, the righteous escape. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. Through the blessings of the upright, a city is exalted, but the mouth of the wicked is destroyed. Whoever derides their neighbor has no sense, but the one who has understanding holds their tongue. A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. So we may not like the word gossip, and we might use another word. Paul actually calls them busybodies. In 2 Thessalonians 3:11, he says, "We hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are not busy, they are busybodies." For whatever reason, and I can come up with all kinds of speculations, but honestly that would be gossip and rumors. For whatever reason, we feel the need to share other people's stuff, but we're much less willing to share our own. When we're in a group of people, it's easier to share someone else's stuff than it is to share our own. Especially when it's idle conversation. Now, maybe it's just because we know we need to share something, and so it's easier to share somebody else's stuff. I'm probably talking about myself, by the way. It's easier to share somebody else's stuff than it is to actually talk about what I'm dealing with. Yeah, that might come back and bite me. But their stuff can't come back and bite me. It's not true, but that's my thought. Hold on, Dave. You might get to the answer. If not, you can ask me later. So let me ask you a question. Now that we've talked a little bit, what do you think the difference is between news, gossip, and rumors? News is something that was publicly shared without any expectation of confidence, or it could be because you're having a conversation with the person in a group of people about something. It's real, it's true, it's verifiable, right? I'm going to give you an example of a piece of news, all right? I'm going to stand here in front of you all and share something that I know is out there in the public right now. All right? It might be brand new news to you, but Bay City First Church of the Nazarene is struggling, and one of the things that they're considering is the possibility of having to sell their building. That's news. It's publicly out there, right? Now, I knew that ahead of time, okay? Because I was brought in to the inner circle on that conversation. But I couldn't share it with anybody until it became news, right? Now, if I stood up here from this point on and told you all the details of the conversations that have been had with the congregation in private, because there's been 2 meetings after the sermon on Sundays, and I started sharing all that with you, that's gossip. You weren't part of that intimate conversation. And if they come to you and share it with you, technically, you are participating in gossip. It's just a fact. You have no direct knowledge, and they're bringing you information that wasn't intended for you, unless you're a member of that congregation, and then you already know it. There's a few people in this room I know were present for those meetings. I understand that. You are eligible to know that information. You are not eligible to share that information. You haven't been given permission to share it outside, right? You see, gossip is anything that pertains to another person or organization that you may have specific details of that others do not have the right to have, do not have, and then you share that information without express permission. When that happens, it almost always results in speculation, because you never get all the facts. You only know parts. And once you participate in the gossip by listening, you start to speculate. We all do it. Matter of fact, I caught myself this morning in a conversation where I started that process, and I had to stop it. Andrew will testify that I was doing that, and I caught myself. We all do it. It's dangerous. As a result of us deciding we're going to become detectives and we go out and we start telling the story about what we assume is happening. We take a piece of information that was brought to us that from firsthand we know is true because it was shared firsthand, but we probably don't have all the details, and we start putting our pieces to it, and then we go out and we share that with someone else, and before long, the rumor starts. How many of you have, by a simple rumor, found some area of your life turned upside down? Everyone in this room probably needs to raise their hand. Now, it may not have felt like a big deal. And for some of us, it felt like life and death. All right? But we've all had it happen. Even this really small, simple rumors, they don't seem like a big deal at all, have caused suicide, caused people to quit their jobs, caused families to fall apart. Let me be very clear. I don't care how sure you are that someone relapsed. if you didn't actually see it with your own eyes, or they didn't come to you and tell you, and you tell somebody else they relapsed, you're spreading rumors. Period. It's gone beyond gossip at that point. Now, you may have guessed absolutely right. And a good chance you did. But the reality is that rumor is going to cause the person that you're talking about to think something like this. Why should I try? They might say, even when I'm clean, they all think I've failed anyway. They might even say, yeah, this time I did fail, but it doesn't matter if I ever succeed or not. They're never going to believe me anyway. How many of you recognize that thoughts like that kill? And I'm the one standing right here in front of you all and telling you, I need to get way better at this. It's as simple as somebody coming up and asking me how so-and-so is doing. And I have direct information. And I know they care and they love that person. And without even thinking about it, I start telling the other person's business. That's exactly what happened with my daughter, right? As soon as I do that, I'm gossiping. As soon as that gets back to them, it degrades my integrity and it hurts them because they can't trust me anymore. Now, almost everyone in this room, if we're honest, I have participated in gossip with you. For that I am truly sorry. Like I said, I didn't want to preach this message because it's pointing the finger at me. But if it's pointing a finger at me, I know it's pointing a finger at you too. On the other side of that, me taking ownership of that, I'm also making this blatant, direct statement. And we all need to hear it. Gossip is deadly. And every one of us must learn to deal with these things better. If this church and this Christian community in Bay City, and I am talking about every church, not just here, can't get a better handle on this, the Christian movement in Bay City will continue to decline. It's a fact. And it is the greatest weapon that Satan has against the church, those who believe in Jesus Christ. Now let me be very clear. All of us have the opportunity and need to be concerned about other people. It's part of our Christian walk. And there are times where we get information about someone from them directly. And we don't know how to deal with it. Something has to happen. But we don't have a clue what to do. It happens. I have an answer for that. But I also have what is definitely not the answer. All right? You have a concern about someone. They've shared something with you. You know it's true. Again, reminding you, I've done these things as well. You have a concern. You're really, really concerned. The right answer in that moment is first, take it to God. Second, if you really need help with the process, you're going to have to seek the right help. Now let me be very clear. The right help is never going out and having a conversation with a whole bunch of other people to get them all on your team. Trying to find a consensus with your peers is never the right way to get your answer. That is betrayal. That is gossip. It will lead to rumors. If you must seek advice, you go to that person that is qualified to give the advice. You go to a counselor, a pastor, a recovery coach. In a pinch, you can even go to your seasoned sponsor. All of these are in a position to give direction. And if they're worth their salt at all, they won't let you tell them who the person is unless they have a real fear for that person's safety. And if that's the case, they're going to go with you to that person and they're going to address the concern directly. If you feel you need to get others on your side, there's a really good chance that you're gossiping, or worse, you've gone over to the dark side and you're in full-on rumor mode. Jesus told us how to deal with these troubles when we're dealing with a trouble with someone else. He gave us very, very clear direction of what we're supposed to do. Matthew 18, 15 through 18. If your brother or sister sins, go to and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen, even to the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Paul refers to this same thing in 2 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 5. As he's talking to the church in Corinth, he says, "This will be my 3rd visit to you. Every matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. I already gave you a warning when I was with you the 2nd time. Now I repeat it while absent. On my return, I will not I will not spare those who sinned earlier or any of the others. Since you are demanding proof that Christ is speaking through me, he is not weak in dealing with you, but is powerful among you. For, to be sure, he was crucified in weakness, yet he lives by God's power. Likewise, we are weak in him, yet by God's power we will live with him in our dealing with you. Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Do you not realize that Christ Jesus is in you? Unless, of course, you failed the test." There's so much in that I want to go into, but we just don't have time. When we work out this process of dealing with the struggle that someone we know is having, the process that Jesus gave us for dealing with each other, there has never been a situation where the other person was not included in the conversation. Period. I know the argument that I need direction, or they're in danger, or it would be danger for me to approach them right now. Or by saying, if I talk to them right now, it may cause them to relapse or do something worse than what they're doing right now. I've had all those thoughts. I get it. If that's your thought, the answer is pray. It is never to leave them out of the equation. Because gossip will turn into speculation, which will turn into rumor, which always does harm. Yes, it's dangerous to interact with others when they are in a bad place. But if we don't include them, we'll make things worse, not better. It's even worse than delaying. If we truly work out Matthew 18, if we're truly working this process out and we truly care and we're struggling, and I say struggling because it's not easy, to live a Christian life, we'll have included the person in our conversation one-on-one. And then if they don't change, we'll let them know that we're going to be having a conversation with the next person, whoever that might be, to find out what the next step is. You see, they're already engaged in the conversation and they're told what's coming. That way they're not blindsided. And even after that, or we've told them we're going to go talk to so-and-so to see what the next steps are. And then they have a conversation. And then we go together and have a conversation. And still nothing changes. Then they're informed about what the next step will be. If something doesn't change, we're going to have to take it to the church. Or, how about this? A better way to think about it. Your family. And we're all going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation. How many of you have ever heard of an intervention? Right? Powerful tool. And almost always done wrong. You see, an intervention starts by having a one-on-one conversation. And then it moves to multiple people having one-on-one conversations. And then, because it's been communicated that we're going to start talking together, and we go as a small group, 1 or 2 people, and we say, things need to change. And they don't change. And we say, if you don't get things straightened out, we're all going to sit down and we're going to have a real conversation. We often say you're going to have a come to Jesus moment. Right? But that's actually the proper way to provide intervention. You see, if you just jump right to the telling the church, the intervention stage, my dear friend is relapsing and they're going to die. And so I go round up all their family and I say, you don't understand how bad it really is. You're not watching. And I bring them all together and we call the person in and we blindside them. And we say, this is what's going to happen today. I don't have exact statistics, but I'm willing to bet more than 60% of those interventions fail. But if you had the one-on-one conversation and you've had multiple one-on-one conversations and you've had a few people come and sit down and nothing happens, and you tell them, if things don't change soon, we're going to have a come to Jesus moment. We're all going to have to sit down when that day comes. They'll be much more prepared to receive what's going to happen. Your better chance of having a positive outcome in that situation. It's amazing, right? Jesus kind of knew what he was talking about. So many people have been injured. So many people have actually died because of well-meaning people. They got busy without any consideration for what's right. Gossip is always bad. It almost always leads to speculation, maybe not in you, but somebody else. And that almost always turns into a rumor. Today, we have an opportunity. You and I have an opportunity to take the next step in our sanctification process, our recovery. Not sobriety, our recovery. We have the opportunity to protect those we say we care about and also protect our own integrity. You see, that is what living the life as a follower of Jesus Christ looks like. We have all had years of participating in gossip and rumors. And if we're honest, most of us are really, really good at it. Not in a good way, but we're so good at it we can't not do it. But let me make it very clear. We can all learn something new. The old saying that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is a lie. My dog will prove that. 13 years old, and she hates to learn new stuff. She really does. But she can. They can learn. You and I can learn. Yes, I'm calling you a dog, because so am I. We can learn. But the truth of the matter is, it's going to take a lot more perseverance to overcome old habits. The life of a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ, is hard. It's supposed to be. And by the way, hard is not persecution. It's just hard. But our life in the kingdom today, having the benefits of that, hinges on our ability to change. Change from who we were into a follower of Jesus. Not just a fan that takes fun and leaves all the hard work to the professionals. I mean, we've all seen Green Bay Packer fans in the middle of January with no shirts on, painted up, right? They're the epitome of a fan, right? They will sacrifice their bodies for their team. But not a single one of them will step foot on that field and get hit the way that team does. That's for the professionals. They may say they're willing to, but the first hit, they're done. They'll leave that for the professionals. That's not our job. We need to be followers. There's no such thing as a professional Christian. Jesus didn't come to just save you for a future purpose. God sent him so that you could learn to be transformed to look more like Jesus every day. I want to take questions, I honestly do, but I really believe that right now is the time we take this information and we let God speak to us directly. If you have a question, we can talk privately. And I think sometimes that's good. But understand this. Gossip is never okay. I am going to do my best to get better at this every day. I'm asking for forgiveness when I fail right now, because I will. I'm not giving myself an excuse in it, by the way. It's not okay. And if you catch me in it, I expect you to say, Pastor, that's gossip. I need that. But I'm also going to ask you, do I have your permission to say to you, we're not going to talk about that because that's gossip? Do I have that permission?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So you think it's gossip. And when I talk about that, I think it's gossip.
I made the definition of gossip very clear. So I don't think I left room for I think. I made it very clear. I want you to understand, I didn't want to preach this message because it spoke directly to me. And I know it's speaking directly to many of us. I get it. But there is no gray area in what Jesus told us in Matthew 18. And that's a fact. Father God, I praise you and I thank you for what you're going to do in each and every one of our lives. I know that right now, the truth of the matter is, this is tough stuff. All I ask is that you continue through your Spirit to work this out. Lord, I have no question in my mind you called me to this place, to this pulpit, to share this message. But I also know that without your Spirit, none of it matters. I'm asking you to move mightily in each and every one of us. Allow us to receive what it is that we need to receive. Let us continue to move forward so that we can be the body of Christ here in Bay City. I pray this in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen. I appreciate you all being here today, and I look forward to the conversations that will come, and I'm willing to have those.